The presidential election in 2020 is already starting to heat up. We are hearing about a number of potential candidates on the Democrat side, and Joe Biden happens to be one of the names that's floating around. Now, it's important to keep Biden in mind, especially when it comes to various debates pertaining to Social Security and Medicare. Now, earlier this year, Biden gave a speech where he actually addressed Social Security and Medicare. And something that the mainstream media hasn't really covered much is how he actually tends to agree a little bit with people like Paul Ryan when it comes to cutting those programs. So I don't want to put words in his mouth. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Look what's happened, the latest tax cut. Once again, those at the very top get the biggest breaks. And what do we have to show for it? Even our Republican friends are now beginning to admit there's no evidence these tax cuts are being put to work in the economy. No new growth, just more debt. And that puts middle-class programs that they rely on and they've worked for at real risk. Paul Ryan was correct. When he did the tax code, what's the first thing he decided we had to go after? Social Security and Medicare. Now, we need to do something about Social Security and Medicare. That's the only way you can find room to pay for it.
So he starts off fine, right, by attacking these massive tax cuts for the wealthy, but then he very subtly, in my opinion, agrees that something needs to be done with Social Security and Medicare, and he's gonna further solidify that point in this next clip. But I also wanna note that he started this off by saying, I'm a fan of Bernie Sanders, but I'm not Bernie Sanders. I don't believe that I don't believe in blaming the rich.
So Biden and Sanders are currently leading the race for 2020. They're number 1 and number 2 in all the polls. And so he's partly trying to distinguish himself from Bernie Sanders. And I like Joe Biden a lot. I don't like him enough to vote for him because I don't agree with his policies. I am much more progressive. So it's kind of sad to see this. But if you're trying to distinguish yourself from the progressive position by saying you're going to cut Social Security and Medicare, going to turn into an absolute disaster for you. So I wish he hadn't gone in that direction, but he keeps going and going here.
I don't know a whole lot of people in the top 0.1% or the top 1% are relying on Social Security when they retire. I don't know a lot of them. Maybe you guys do. So we need a pro-growth progressive tax code that treats workers as job creators as well, not just investors, that gets rid of unprotected loopholes like stepped-up basis. And it raises enough revenue to make sure that the Social Security and Medicare can stay, still needs adjustments, but can stay. And pay for the things we all acknowledge will grow the country.
Hey guys, look, I like Biden a lot, and to be fair, within the context of that conversation, he talked about the guys in the top 500 billionaires are not bad guys, but look, they just have gotten too much breaks, and we have got to do something about it. And it was an interesting way to relate. But he just said it again there. Social Security and Medicare gets to stay. Wow, thank you, we really appreciate it. But it needs adjustments. That is clear language for I'm going to cut Social Security and Medicare, and I'm going to agree with the Republicans on that. A hell to the no on that. No way.
And remember, during the Obama administration, as part of I believe they call it a grand bargain, Obama was willing to cut Social Security specifically. And I bring that up because, look, Biden was his VP. And part of the problem with Obama, and part of the reason why someone like Trump was able to get elected, again, this is part of the reason, is because people did not feel like the Democrats, the establishment Democrats, were looking out for their best economic interests. But Biden, I just want to point out, is much smarter and savvier than people like Trump, because Trump is too brazen and too transparent, whereas Biden will start off with this long-winded point about how, the millionaires and the billionaires, they've gotten away with too much, these tax cuts, they're wrong. I mean, then they want to go after Social Security. I mean, it still needs adjustments, but they want to go after Social Security. But you just said that it needs adjustments. Look, those are entitlement programs because we are entitled to them. We have paid into them, right? And so to talk about how to start or frame the conversation at that starting point, right? about how it needs adjustments, that's a really bad sign. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah, what he's going to do is what establishment Democrats have done throughout, which is, oh, well, your tax cuts for corporations were a little too much and for the rich. Let's scale them back a little. No, let's get rid of them all. There was a $1.9 trillion gift to the rich and multinational corporations. He's going to compromise. He's going to want, what did Obama do? You took 100 yards. Can I get 5 yards back? Not interested. And in return for getting 5 yards back, I'll give you cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Hell no, no way. He's a good guy. He gives a good speech from time to time, but I'm not interested in that policy. And no progressive should be interested in that policy. We should actually fight for our own case, not the Republicans' case.
On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.